Have you heard of Paul Bunyan? He's a very famous man, a legend they call him now. His story started long ago. It began in the Great North Woods. This was in America, a young land. People told tales of his strength. They spoke of his amazing deeds. He was more than just a man. He was a giant, a hero of the woods. Paul Bunyan was a logger, you see. He cut down trees, big tall trees, but he was no ordinary logger. Oh no, Paul was special. He was the king of all loggers. The best there ever was, or will be. His axe was as big as a sail. He could clear a forest in a day. The stories about him grew and grew, like the tall pines he used to chop. These stories traveled far and wide, from one logging camp to another. Men would sit by the fire at night. They would tell of Paul's adventures. Each time the tale might get a bit taller, a bit grander, a bit more exciting. Paul Bunyan was not just tall. He was a true giant, a colossal figure. When he was a baby, it took 5 giant storks, yes, 5 of them working together, just to deliver him to his parents. He was that big right from the start. His cradle was a lumber wagon. They had to float it in the sea. That is how large young Paul was. A truly remarkable size for a babe. As he grew, Paul grew even bigger. He grew taller than the tallest trees. Some say he combed his beard with a pine tree. A young pine tree, mind you. His footsteps could shake the ground. When he walked, small hills would tremble. He wore a shirt so large, it is said, its buttons were made from cartwheels. Imagine the needle and thread for that. His voice was like a clap of thunder. When Paul shouted, folks miles away could hear. If he whispered, it sounded like a strong wind, rustling through the forest leaves. His laughter could start an avalanche, or so the old loggers used to say. Paul Bunyan did not work all alone. He had a very special friend, a helper. This was Babe, his great blue ox. Babe was not just any ordinary ox. Oh no, Babe was as remarkable as Paul. He was blue, a bright, beautiful blue. Some say he turned blue in a hard winter. The winter of the blue snow, they called it. He stood out, a marvelous sight, a true wonder of the North Woods. Babe was incredibly big, just like Paul. So big, it was said, his horns were far apart. 42 axe handles and a plug of tobacco. That is how far apart they stretched, tip to tip. He could drink a whole river dry, especially when he was very thirsty after work. His strength was something to behold. He could pull anything at all. A whole forest of logs tied together. Babe could pull it with ease, people said. Babe was also very clever, a smart ox. He understood every word Paul said. They were a team, Paul and Babe. They worked together, side by side. Babe helped Paul with all his logging tasks. He straightened crooked logging roads. Paul Bunyan and Babe did not just cut trees, oh no, their work was much grander. They helped shape the very land of America. Or so the wonderful old stories tell us. Take the Grand Canyon for example, that huge, amazing ditch in the earth. Some folks say Paul Bunyan made it. It was an accident, but a happy one. A truly spectacular result of his work. It shows just how mighty he was. The story goes that Paul was dragging his axe. He was walking across the land, you see. Babe the blue ox was with him, of course. Paul was tired, a bit weary from his labors. His giant axe was very, very heavy. So heavy, it dragged on the ground behind him. It scraped along, digging a mighty furrow. This furrow got deeper and wider. As Paul journeyed towards the west, he did not even notice what was happening. When Paul finally looked back, he was surprised. There it was, a giant winding canyon, carved into the earth by his own axe. The Colorado River found this new path. It started to flow through the canyon, making it even deeper over many years. Section 5, Waterways and Wonders, How the Great Lakes Came to Be. Paul Bunyan's work did not stop with canyons. He also had a hand in creating lakes. Yes, the Great Lakes of North America. Those vast inland seas full of fresh water. The stories say Paul needed water for Babe. Babe the blue ox got very thirsty, especially after a long day of hauling logs. So Paul decided to make a big drinking hole. A very, very big drinking hole indeed. Big enough for his giant blue companion. He started digging, using his massive shovel. Each scoop of earth made a huge hole. He dug and dug, piling the earth nearby. This earth became the hills and mountains, the ones you see around the Great Lakes today. He worked tirelessly, day after day, because Babe needed a lot of water. Soon the holes began to fill up, rain fell and rivers flowed into them, creating the mighty lakes we know now. There are 5 Great Lakes as you know: Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. Each one a testament to Paul's grand efforts. Or so the tall tales would have us believe. Lake Superior, the biggest and deepest. Perhaps Paul dug a little extra deep there, or maybe Babe was extra thirsty that week. Section 6. Tales Around the Campfire, Stories for a Growing Nation. The tales of Paul Bunyan were very important, especially for the early American settlers, and for the loggers working in the forests. Life was hard in those days, you know. The work was tough and often dangerous. The land was vast and sometimes lonely. People needed something to lift their spirits. They needed stories, entertainment, and hope. Paul Bunyan's adventures provided all of that. He was a hero for a new bold nation. Around the flickering campfires at night, after a long day of hard, back-breaking labor, loggers would gather and share stories. The tales of Paul Bunyan were favorites. They would tell of his incredible strength, his clever solutions to impossible problems, his adventures with Babe the blue ox. These stories brought laughter and amusement. They made the hard work seem a little easier, and the dark nights a little less daunting. These stories also served another purpose. They helped to build a sense of community. Shared stories create shared experiences. They bond people together, create a common culture. For the loggers from different places, working together in the vast wilderness. Section 7. The Logger's Hero, an Inspiration for Workers. Paul Bunyan was first and foremost a logger. He was the ultimate lumberjack, the king. His stories were born in the logging camps, told by loggers about a logger. This made him especially important to them. He was not some distant, unrelatable hero. He was one of their own, only much bigger. He understood their work, their struggles. He faced the same challenges they did, but on a much, much grander scale. His solutions to logging problems were legendary, and often very funny, which they enjoyed. If a river was too crooked to float logs, Paul and Babe would pull it straight. If a log jam clogged up the entire river, Paul would wade in and clear it himself. He invented the peavey, a logging tool, and the crosscut saw, or so some tales say. He made logging more efficient, more productive. He was the ideal, the perfect woodsman. This made him a great source of pride. Loggers were doing hard, essential work. They were helping to build the nation, providing the timber for homes and industries. Paul Bunyan's tales celebrated their profession. They elevated the status of the logger. Section 8. Paul's Giant Footprints, Lasting Marks on Culture. Paul Bunyan's influence goes far beyond campfires. He has left giant footprints on American culture. His stories are known by children and adults, across the entire country and even beyond. He appears in books, cartoons, and films. His image is used in advertising too, for products that want to seem strong and reliable, or for places that celebrate the outdoors. He has become a true American icon, recognized by almost everyone, everywhere. Statues of Paul Bunyan, often with Babe, can be found in many towns across America, especially in places with a logging history. These statues are usually very large. Just like Paul himself, they tower over visitors. They are popular tourist attractions, you see. People love to take photos with Giant Paul. It is a fun way to connect with the legend. These landmarks keep his memory alive and introduce him to new generations. Festivals and celebrations are held in his honor. Paul Bunyan Days, they are often called. These events feature logging competitions, pancake breakfasts, and storytelling sessions. They celebrate the heritage of the timber industry and the folklore that grew out of it. Section 9. The Everlasting Tall Tale, Bunyan's Enduring Legacy. So Paul Bunyan lives on, strong as ever, not as a real man, of course not, but as a legend, a beloved folk hero. His tales continue to entertain and amuse. They remind us of a different time, a time of vast forests and new frontiers, when America was still young and growing. His stories are a special kind of magic, the magic of the tall tale, full of humor, and full of unbelievable, wonderful deeds. The appeal of Paul Bunyan is easy to see. He represents strength and determination, but also a sense of fun and good nature. He solves problems with cleverness and might. His world is one of grand adventures, where anything seems possible, anything at all. Babe the blue ox adds to this charm, a loyal companion of incredible power. Together they are an unforgettable pair, heroes of a uniquely American mythology. These stories are more than just entertainment. They tell us something about American values, the importance of hard work, for instance, the idea of overcoming great obstacles, the spirit of innovation and ingenuity, and a love for the vast wild landscape.